Hey nerds, what's up? I have been watching a lot of TV and movies, and so I thought it was a good time to get started on one of these updates. So, let's get into this. Starting off the new year, on my way to New Orleans, I watched Crazy Rich Asians for the first time, and oh my god, it was so good. I don't know if I'm planning on reading the books for these. I haven't read them yet, and I don't know if I want to. A few people who I really trust their reviews and stuff have said that the writing is a little bit too description-y for their taste, and I have the same issue with books that are very description-y, but the movie doesn't need it because they can just visually show you all of this stuff. And so I really loved the movie. I thought it was funny, I thought it was sad. I also heard that the movie changed the ending, and I like the ending better in the changed version, I'm just saying. If I was giving these movies stars, just like I do with books, I would give Crazy Rich Asians a 5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. So I also decided to watch with Matt, while we were in New Orleans, Byrd Box, which is on Netflix, and it's also a book to movie adaptation. I still haven't read the book for this one either. I know, I'm a terrible person. Nothing is new. With Byrd Box, I think I probably give this movie a 3 out of 5 stars. It had a lot of just non-answered things, and from what I've heard, the book does the same thing, which is why I don't think I'll ever read it. It was scary and creepy and like freaked me out just like it wanted to, and I thought the acting was great, but there was not enough substance for what this made-up creature was for me to be able to get 100% into the story. Like, I needed answers and none of them were given. The next show that Matt and I started watching this year after we got back from New Orleans was Legion. Now, Legion has 2 seasons, and the first Legion season is amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend. It is glorious. So good. So many great actors. Such a great plot. So visually pleasing, kind of creepy, love it. We started watching season 2 and we only watched 2 episodes because it was just kind of boring and weird. And my favorite villain, who is in the first season, the character is still around, but it's played by a different actor. Not because they like changed actors, but because it's a super power movie, and so they change appearances, and so the actor who's playing the villain in the first season is different in the second season. That actor as the villain is amazing, and the way that the villain is being portrayed in season 2, it just wasn't my vibe. So I'm giving this show a 2 out of 5 stars, and also I DNF'd it. I give it a 2 and not a 1 because it still is really visually pleasing. The next show that we tried out was Maniac on Netflix. We watched a full 6 episodes of this show. It has Emma Stone in it and Jonah Hill. The cast was interesting, and I think they were doing a good job. This show does this weird thing where like they put these actors in these dreamscapes kind of thing, and so they play out these different like versions of reality with different accents and all sorts of like weird shit going on, and it was a cool concept, but it wasn't 6 episodes in, it felt very repetitive, even though they are all in these different situations, but like there was no plot development really. And then there was also a weird like robot thing that was happening that I wasn't into, and yeah, so we DNF'd this as well, and it's another 2 out of 5 stars. I also went on an entire Teen Mom binge and watched all the way up to the present of Teen Mom, and then started Teen Mom 2. Teen Mom is great, especially since Farrah has left the show, and Teen Mom 2 would be a lot better if Janelle would leave the show. Those are my feelings. I'm trash. We are also watching True Detective season 3 right now, but we haven't finished it, so I don't want to give it a star rating yet, but we are up to date. Season 1 is phenomenal. Please go watch it. This show is seasonal wrap-ups, so there's a whole story that's happening in season 1 played by a set of actors. The story finishes and that's done. Then season 2 is played by a different set of actors. There's a different story, and the only commonality between all the seasons is that you're following different detectives. and usually they're not like the perfect kind of detective. There's always something kind of wrong with them. Season 2 was awful. Do not watch it. You don't need to watch it. It's not good. But season 3 has made a comeback. It's good. So far not as good as season 1, but still really good. We are enjoying. I don't have a start rating for you yet. Then we started going back in time and watching some really great thrillers from the past. So we started with watching Cape Fear, which was made in 1962. This movie is about this guy who is sent to prison by this lawyer, by the attorney, and when he gets out, he spends his time in prison, he does a bunch of research and learns all about the law, and then he comes out and he knows exactly how to get away with what he wants to do, with all of his threatening and, you know, kind of scaring this lawyer and his family who got him into prison in the first place without breaking the law until the very end. And so it's about him, you know, messing with this family, and there's a young girl involved and crazy stuff goes down. I gave this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was really well done. It's definitely been seen since, and so I also think that it would have been, if I watched this movie made today, it would have been more intense, because playing in 1962 you can't show as scary of stuff, and it's all more, the threats don't feel as real because they can't say certain things, I guess. Then we watched The Fugitive, which is made in like the 90s, and it has, oh god, what's his name? Han Solo in it. I can't think of his name right now. And it's about this guy who is a doctor and his wife is murdered, and everyone thinks it was him, but he knows that it wasn't him. It was a one-armed man, but nobody believes him, and he goes to prison and he somehow escapes, and he's a fugitive trying to prove his innocence. And oh my god, it was good. However, because it was so good in the 90s, it's been done so many times now. And so I've seen this story before, and I was watching it going, oh, like it's so clear that this is the first time this is done. But now I've seen it so many times that like nothing was surprising. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars as well, because unfortunately just my entertainment value was lowered because of the fact that it's been done so many times, and that's unfortunate. The next thing that I watched was You, which is another Netflix series, also based on a book. The book is phenomenal. Listen to it on audiobook, it'll really creep you out. Don't listen to it at night, it's scary. I watched the whole series and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Initially starting it, I was a little nervous because part of the reason that I think You, the book, is so creepy is because the book is talking to you and about you, and it makes it so skeevy. Watching it on film, even when he is saying you, it doesn't give you that same feeling because you're watching the girl he's talking about. It doesn't make you have the same subconscious like crap feeling. The movie, I think, did a really great job. It followed the characterizations. All of the people in the show and in the book are horrible people. Obviously Joe is more horrible than the rest, and yeah, I thought it was really, really well done. 5 out of 5 stars. I also watched all of the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix after the trailer came out for the new Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie was released. I decided to watch the Ted Bundy tapes. Ted Bundy is terrifying, and that's all I have to say. The tapes were great. Creepy, so creepy. He is terrifying still. I also have been to the Museum of Death in LA, and you can see the clothes that he was executed in. They're sitting on the wall. I then watched with Sierra when Sierra was down. We watched the Ted Bundy tapes together too. When Sierra was down, we also watched Big Fat Liar, which is a 2000s classic with Amanda Bynes and Frankie Muniz, and if you're too young to remember those times, I'm sad for you, because it was a great time. So we just had a fun time watching that. It's still a 5 out of 5 stars for us. If you watched it now, it'd probably not be a 5 out of 5 stars, but I love that movie so much. We also watched, well, we watched part of Collateral, which is another 90s movie that is kind of a, like, heist or getaway with show movie. It has Denzel Washington and Tom Cruise in it, and Tom Cruise plays the bad guy. It was 3 out of 5 stars. It was fine. it's also one of those movies that unfortunately has been done so many times since then that like it feels like it's not fresh anymore, even though it was one of the first, if not the first. Next, I was home alone, Matt was out of town, and I was like, I want to watch a nice, happy, girly movie. And I put on Dumplin' on Netflix, another book that I haven't read yet. Whoops. And this was not a like happy movie. This was a emotional movie. I felt so many things watching this. I cried a lot. It was fantastic. I loved everything about it. And if this had been made in the early 2000s, Amanda Bynes would have been the friend. Am I wrong? I gave that movie a 5 out of 5 stars because I really liked it. Then we watched another 90s movie, and it was called Basic Instinct. It is about this woman who is thought to have murdered her boyfriend, and she's also a writer, and in the book she wrote a few years ago, it describes the murder that happened to her boyfriend in perfect replication. And so it's assumed that she was, but she has an alibi. She's also bisexual in the movie, which was like, when you think about it, some really cool rep, except that it's done so much like a straight white man wrote it for his fantasy. This whole movie is exactly that. It's not, nope. No. Trigger warning for rape in this movie, even though no one talks about it. Man in the movie, and he has a girlfriend, and he's upset about stuff going on, spoilers, and she comes over to console him, and then instead of wanting to talk about his feelings, he decides to start kissing her, and then they're kissing, and that's fine, and it starts getting more rough, and he like puts her over the couch, and she says no, don't, or stop. She says no, and then another word like don't or stop, and like says his name, and then that's not consent. The only like conversation that happens in it is she says like that was different. Like she's mad at him, and she says something like that was not normal or something like that. But then after that, like it's such a quick conversation, and I was so baffled by that scene. And like I know that it's not that weird considering this movie was made in the 90s. Like I can't expect the things we have learned in the last fucking 30 years. That's insane. I can't expect that on that, but like I didn't like it. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It was gross. The ending also was not surprising in the least. We also watched The Deep Sleep, which was a movie that I can't even remember, but I gave a 4 out of 5 stars, so that says something. And then I also watched The Departed, which was great. It was a gangster movie, and you've got a cop who is undercover in the gang, and you've got a gang member who is undercover as a cop, and all this shit's going down, and literally every famous person from the 90s is in it. Leonardo DiCaprio's in it, Mark Wahlberg is in it, like, there are so many, Alec Baldwin is in it, Matt Damon is in it. So many people, so many famous people. It was great, 5 out of 5 stars. I also watched The Incredibles 2 for the first time. I'm very proud of myself that I figured out the mystery the first time that it was like brought up, and I did a great job for a kids movie. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was very cute. I love The Incredibles. I am so happy that they made us a sequel finally. I also, my sister had me watch, she started us watching this Australian reality TV show called Back With My Ex. It's on Netflix if you're interested. And it is this show about, there's a person in the ex relationship who decides to contact the ex and ask them if they want to try. And so if they say yes, then the show follows them for 3 weeks. The first week, the person who asked the ex to get back with them is the one who houses them, and they can make house rules. And then the second week, they go to the ex who was asked to come into their house, and they get to make house rules. And then the third week, they spend on a like out-of-country getaway vacation, and it was a blast. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Reality TV is great. And lastly, I watched Hairspray twice. I freaking love this movie. This movie is fantastic. I actually really want to watch the live version. I think Fox did a live version of it and I really want to watch it. But I watched this movie just like on a whim by myself, and then I also watched it again with my friend Bailey and her daughter Amelia, who is obsessed with it, and I love this movie so much. The music is great, the topic is great. I love it so much. So that is everything that I've watched this year so far in the months of January and February. I hope you guys are still with me. This was a long video. I apologize, but not that much. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below what show or movie that you have been obsessed with lately, because I'd love to get more recommendations. I'll see you guys very soon with a new one. I make videos every Thursday and Saturday, so I'll see you soon. Bye! I wish I could